Noon. I'm live. I know I'm live a couple minutes early, but I figured I would get on now and you know and you know just let everybody get a chance to get on and stuff because we got a lot to discuss today. And just bear with me here with this towel on my head. I literally just shaved now and I managed to cut myself, so this is why I'm trying to stop the bleeding before it gets all over the place. Yep. So that's how my around 2 o'clock I started shaving, and then I of course managed to cut myself. So there we go. So I just bear with me with this stupid towel for 1 second, make sure I'm not bleeding anymore. I think that's good enough. I mean, at this point, if it ain't gonna stop bleeding, it ain't gonna stop bleeding. Hopefully, there's no blood around. But thank you for logging on. So how's everyone this afternoon? It's let's see, 80 degrees here in New Jersey. Quite hot for me at least. And so today we're going to be discussing mostly the Durham Report, which came out. That's just the door closing for no reason, no ghosts. It's just I'm in front of the window, and there's wind, so there's a breeze. So the breeze closed the door. That's good enough. I don't have time for that crap. And yep. So I got. That's not that important. But yeah, I mean, I spent all of this time just trying to figure. Water ain't cold enough. Oh well. We're going to be discussing the Durham Report. We're going to be discussing maybe some other stuff if there's time. I got some clips. I got some articles. Hopefully, I won't bore everybody too much, but we'll see. So, give me a few minutes to let everybody know that I'm live on Twitter and all of my social medias. So, if you haven't followed already, make sure you do. All my social medias. And let's see. Do 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 do. Wow, look at that. Where is it? Why am I not finding my original tweet? Whoops. The hell with that. Just do that. There we go. Letting people know I'm live, so I have to do that. I'm live. Oops. I love. Let me try it again. I'm live right now. And join me, at these links below. Hmm. Just letting everybody know I'm live, and then probably be able to get started. Oops, what am I doing? Oh, okay. So, how's everybody today? It's a beautiful Tuesday here. 80 degrees, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Excuse me. All right, so let me do this. Do do do. For now, let's do that. Yep. So that's that. Go my bookmarks. Hmm. Um. Let me see. Okay. Good. 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 So first things first. Let's do some shameless plugs because I think I need to get that done first because I usually forget to do them towards the end. So because I'm really tired and not getting much sleep lately, so what's that? Not important. Um, so let me let people on subs follow me on my Substack. By the way, I mean if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. Let me show that real quick. Finally, looks like that's gone. Why is this not loading? Jesus Christ, this is the same crap. That's annoying. Let me try that again. There you go. So ridiculously slow. Why is this fucking doing that? Yep, so let's go to. Where is it? Hmm, here we go. hmm So this is my Substack. Let's make sure you subscribe to it if you know, and actually, if I did this, that would help. Let me make sure everybody subscribes to my Substack. I'll be writing more articles there soon enough. So make sure you subscribe when you get a chance. So let's see. Let's put all of this, in fact, here. Let's put it in like the chat. So there you go. Subscribe to my YouTube channels and my INN's YouTube channels and all that good stuff. Follow me on Twitter. There's my little links right there, or my handles, both of them. Make sure you follow that as well. And we'll get started in like a couple minutes once I get myself situated because I'm never situated. So get rid of that for now. Let's see. Let's do that. So now we can start. It looks like because I am not going. I got plenty to go over, so I'm going to get started. As you guys know, yesterday, right before I went off the air yesterday, there you go. I gave this. I was reading this tweet. This came out 3:39 p.m. Eastern, and I was looking at it, and I was just scrolling to Twitter before I wrapped up, and I was like, make it a little bigger. All right, here we go. I was scrolling through Twitter on my phone, and I saw this, which I read right before I went off the air last night, which was just in, Special Counsel John Durham finds FBI should not have launched an investigation into Donald Trump's campaign in Russia during 2016, which broke yesterday, right before I went off. So it was like, holy crap. And I was like, well, that's a huge story. That's like a huge story because that's, I couldn't believe, like, I'm like, give me a minute. So that story broke yesterday, and I said I would cover it today. So I'm covering it today, and oh shoot, sorry about that. I was going to cover it today, so I'm covering it now. So most of the stream will be that, but there'll be other things to discuss as well. So we'll see. If I have time, I'll get into some other stories. If not, well, I'll definitely do it tomorrow because there's some other things I want to talk about too. But today, this is probably more important. So let me write this note real quick. Make sure you join me. All right, so let me make sure everything is good. What's this? Not important at all. So annoying. I hate these goddamn spam messages on Twitter. It's like it's the worst. I can't stand them. Can't do anything. So I saw this initially yesterday, and I was like, "Oh crap! Well, looks like finally the everybody realizes how ridiculous this was." So share this tab instead. Let's see. Special Counsel John Durham concluded, and make sure that you can actually see this here. Yeah, kind of. Let me know if you can't see this. I mean, let me make it a little bigger just in case. No, it's too big. That's good. Special Counsel John Durham concluded that the FBI should have never launched a full investigation into the connection between Donald Trump's campaign and Russia during the 2016 election, according to a report compiled over 3 years by the Trump administration appointee and released on Monday. Durham's 300-page report also states the FBI used raw, unanalyzed, and uncorroborated intelligence to launch the Crossfire Hurricane investigation into Trump and Russia, but used a different standard with weighing concerns about the alleged election interference regarding Hillary Clinton's campaign. Well, there were two different standards at the FBI, clearly. Special counsel, however, did not recommend any new charges against individuals or wholesale changes about how the FBI handles politically charged investigations, despite strongly criticizing the agency's behavior. In other words, it's a strongly worded letter. A strongly worded letter for the FBI, and oops, what is this? I don't want that. Sorry about that. Based on the review of Crossfire Hurricane and related intelligence activities, we conclude the Justice Department and the FBI failed to uphold their important mission of strict fealty to law in connection with certain events and activities described in this report, Durham wrote. The report also concludes that at least on the part of certain personnel intimately involved in the matter, there was a predisposition to open an investigation into Trump. Well, yeah, there was a partisan hack investigation, and they wanted to take down Trump any way they could. Durham findings that the FBI investigation into Trump campaign should not have happened are at odds with a previous Justice Department's Inspector General investigation to the FBI's Russia probe, which identified problems in the investigation but concluded in December 2019 that there was sufficient justification to open the inquiry. So, Attorney General Merrick Garland sent Durham's report to congressional lawmakers and released a report on Monday. In a special letter to Congress accompanying the report, Garland said Special Counsel Durham's unclassified report is attached in full, as submitted to me without any addition, redactions, and other modifications. Durham's conclusions condemning the FBI's investigation to Trump is sure to fuel the debate about Russia, Trump, and the FBI in the 2016 presidential election is still swirling more than 6 years after, as the Trump is campaigning once again for the White House. House Judiciary Committee Jim Jordan announced that he has reached out to the Department of Justice to have Durham testify next week. And it goes on and on and on. I don't want to read this whole thing. I don't want to bore anybody. Yeah. Yeah, that's what's going on here. No evidence of collusion. Excuse me. So, let's see. Okay. So let's get rid of that. So yeah, that was the initial article that I saw right before I went off the air yesterday afternoon. Let's do that. Let's go back. And this is the initial one that I saw. Let's go. This is the statement from the FBI. Here, let me see. So it's a statement from the FBI. The conduct in 2016-2017 of Special Counsel Durham examined was the reason why the conduct in 2016 and 2017 that Special Counsel Durham examined was the reason that current FBI leadership already implemented dozens of corrective actions, which have now been in place for some time. Had those reforms in place in 2016, the missteps identified in the report could have been prevented. This report reinforces the importance of ensuring the FBI continues to do its work with the rigor, objectivity, and professionalism the American people deserve and rightly expect. Excuse me 1 second. I mean, yeah, sorry about that. So, so that's very important. Let's get rid of that. We'll get to that in a moment. Right now, I want to get to something else. Where are we? Where are we? I want to get to Jake Tapper here because this has liberals really upset. They're upset at CNN already, and now they're even more upset at CNN because CNN decided to be honest about what's in the Durham Report, and liberals don't want to hear honesty. They want to hear their bedtime story. Their bedtime story basically being, oh, well, Trump is guilty and he's colluding with Russia and Hillary Clinton should have won in 2016 and blah 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 blah. So that's what they want to hear. They don't want to hear the truth at all. So let's check out this real quick. Okay, here we go. Let's do that. Let's put that back. Let's do that. Yay. All right.
Regardless, the report is now here. It has dropped, and it might not have produced everything of what some Republicans hoped for. It is, regardless, devastating to the FBI, and to a degree, it does exonerate Donald Trump. Regardless, the report is now here. It has dropped, and it might not have produced everything of what some Republicans hoped for. It is, regardless, devastating to the FBI, and to a degree, it does exonerate Donald.
That part makes liberals angry. It does exonerate Donald Trump, somewhat, and it's devastating towards the FBI because the FBI, all of a sudden the left loves its government organizations, to be the FBI or CIA or DEA or whatever. They all love them. They can't because they're all anti-Trump, so they all love those fuckers. You all love them these days. So, yep. Excuse me. So that's not going to make liberals happy. Let's see here. All right, now this is another CNN clip. Durham Report finds the FBI failed in its responsibility to the public and never should have launched a Trump-Russia probe. So this is
released by the Justice. Now an investigation.
I love how 4 years. I love how nervous this guy is. He's like, yeah, it's 4 years. He's doing all this shit. Like I'm not sure whether he's trying to adjust his earpiece or what, but he's doing a lot of this shit. Like, so let's.
Now an investigation that's 4 years in the making,
okay.
And we finally.
He's trying to take off. He took off his earpiece. Okay.
We have the conclusions, more than 300 pages released by the Justice Department. Now it has now been transmitted to members of Congress, who also are going to want to bring John Durham in to review some of the findings. But the bottom line is this: the investigation found that the FBI failed in many, many ways, things that we already knew from a previous Inspector General report, and I'll read you just a part of it, of John Durham's conclusion. He says, based on the review of Crossfire Hurricane and related intelligence activities, we conclude that the department and the FBI failed to uphold their important mission of strict fidelity to the law in connection with certain events and activities described in this report. This is
He's still playing with his earpiece, but yeah, he basically says the same thing that Jake Tapper said. Essentially, that's the statement from the FBI. All right, so I wanted to get to this because this is very interesting, if true. If true, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a clip here, so apparently, there has to be some truth to this. But update: according to Durham Report, former CIA Director John Brennan briefed Obama and his staff on the plot by Hillary Clinton to create a false narrative about Russian interference in the election, including with candidate Donald Trump. High-ranking Democrats all knew about this plan and still wasted millions of U.S. taxpayer money investigating Trump with Robert Mueller. No one is being held accountable. Brennan lied to Congress and stated that he found evidence of collusion, even though it was now being reported that he fully knew the story was created by Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton was able to use disinformation to help the DOJ and spy on her political opponent and sway an election. She then used the Democrats in Congress and Robert Mueller to prosecute Trump after he won the presidency. If this had happened to any other country in the U.S. would be disavowing them. Why are Democrats above the law? So this is apparently was in the Brennan report. Let me try it again, in the Durham report. And what's very interesting to me is I actually need to at some point sit down and read this report, because I know my ADD's might act up and stuff, but I don't know. But I'm gonna have to sit down and read. It's like 300 pages. It isn't that bad. It can't be that bad of a read. So I'm gonna have to sit down and read this report myself at some point, just to make sure that stuff that I'm reading is absolutely true, like this. So this is a video here, so apparently it has to be some truth to this, I would assume. So let me see. This is John Brennan, former CIA director, and let's see what he has to say for himself.
But was there intelligence that said that the Trump campaign was colluding with Moscow during their campaign?
There was intelligence that the Russian intelligence services were actively involved in this effort. And having been involved in many counterintelligence cases in the past, I know what the Russians try to do. They try to suborn individuals. And they try to get individuals, including U.S. persons, to act on their behalf either wittingly or unwittingly. And I was worried by a number of the contacts that the Russians had with U.S. persons. And so therefore, by the time I left office on January 20th, I had unresolved questions in my mind as to whether or not the Russians had been successful in getting U.S. persons involved in the campaign or not to work on their behalf, again, either in a witting or unwitting fashion. And so, therefore, I felt as though the FBI investigation was certainly well-founded and needed to look into those issues.
So apparently all that's a lie. Like, Brennan, all that testimony about Brennan is 100% a lie. There was no, according to the Durham report. So he knew all along that the Russiagate thing was all made up by the Clinton campaign, and they were the first ones to come out with this. And and the Obama administration, Brennan, the Democratic Party in Congress, they all went along with this because it was a convenient narrative to undermine the Trump presidency. And so that's what they did. They spent years undermining the Trump administration and everything they tried to do. And, it's just nonsense. The entire thing was just a witch hunt against Trump. Special Counsel John Durham's report details his investigation of a purported effort by Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign to dive Donald Trump to Russia, but which Durham concluded did not all things considered amount to a provable criminal offense. Oh, of course not. Hillary Clinton, did everything she could to connect Trump to Russia, and somehow it's not a criminal offense. Nope. I mean, Jesus, I mean, of course she's not gonna hold accountability. She's all right. So this is the actual report itself. Breaking. According to the Durham Report, the plan by Hillary Clinton to create a false story linking down Trump to Russia was briefed in August 2016 by CIA Director John Brennan to President Obama, VP Biden, Attorney General Loretta Lynch, and FBI Director Comey. So they all knew. So if I can you see this? Looks like it. Let's see. What did I do? Okay. Oops. I'm gonna have to. Hold on. Let me just do that. All right. That's better. So this is, from the report. Factual background. So hopefully I won't bore everybody too much by reading this, but I think it's pretty important information. The office also considered, as part of its investigation, the government's handling of certain intelligence that it received during the summer of 2016. That intelligence concerned the purported approval by Hillary Clinton on July 26, 2016, of a proposal from one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference with the Russian security services. We refer to the intelligence hereafter as the Clinton Plan intelligence. DNI, Director of National Intelligence, I assume, John Ratcliffe declassified the following information about the Clinton Plan intelligence, in this September 2020, and conveyed it to the Senate Judiciary Committee. In late July 2016, the U.S. intelligence agencies obtained insight into Russian intelligence analysis, alleging that the U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton had approved the campaign plan to stir up a scandal against U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump by tying him to Putin and the Russians, hacking a Democratic National Committee. The IC does not know the accuracy of this allegation or to the extent which the Russian intelligence analysis may reflect exaggeration or fabrication. According to his handwritten notes, CIA Director Brennan subsequently, I can't read that word for some reason right now, briefed President Obama and other senior national security officials on the intelligence, including the alleged approval by Hillary Clinton on July 26, 2016, of a proposal from one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by Russian security services. Okay, so that's that. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Oops. I fucked up. Hold on. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. This is right. Wait, is it? Hold on. I'm trying to figure out how's this done in order. Is it this and then this? Let me go here. Before addressing. Wait a minute. Let me just do that. Alright, here we go. There you go. Before addressing the U.S. government's receipt and handling of the Clinton Plan intelligence, we reiterate below a description of the intelligence as declassified by the DNI in a September 29, 2020 letter to Chairman Graham. Ratcliffe letter stated in part as follows. In late July 2016, U.S. intelligence agencies obtained insight into Russian intelligence analysis alleging that U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton had approved the campaign plan to stir up a scandal against U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump by tying him to Putin and the Russians hacking a Democratic National Committee. As described herein in the classified, the U.S. officials described the Clinton plan fully in the blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's that. So let's do that. There you go. White House briefing. On August 3rd, 2016, within days of receiving Clinton plan intelligence, Director Brennan met with the President, Vice President, and other senior administration officials, including but not limited to the Attorney General, who participated remotely, and the FBI Director, in the White House Situation Room to discuss Russian election interference efforts. According to Brennan, handwritten notes of his recollections from the meeting, he briefed on relevant intelligence known to date on Russian election interference, including the Clinton Plan intelligence. Specifically, Director Brennan Declassified handwritten notes reflect that he briefed the meeting participants regarding the alleged approval by Hillary Clinton on 26 July of a proposal from one of her campaign advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by the Russian security services. The office was unable to determine precisely when the FBI first obtained any of the details of the Clinton plan intelligence, other than Director Comey, who attended the August 3rd, 2016 briefing. It appears, however, that this occurred no later than August 22nd, 2016. On that date, FBI cyber analysts, headquarters analyst 2, emailed a number of FBI employees, including supervisory intelligence analyst Brian Alton, I guess, and Section Chief Maffa, the most senior intelligence analyst in the Crossfire Hurricane team, to provide an update on Russian. I think that's the end of that. Yes, the end of that. So, yeah, so this it's in the report that Hillary Clinton been planning this since the beginning. So let's go back. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to. So this is a 2-minute report. So we're gonna check this out real quick.
Spain and Russia. CBS's Catherine Harris. Tonight, the FBI is coming under sharp criticism over its investigation into alleged collusion between Donald Trump's 2016 campaign and Russia. CBS's Catherine Herridge tells us the long-awaited special counsel report finds the Bureau rushed into its investigation.
Almost 4 years to the day since he started his investigation, Special Counsel John Durham says the FBI used unverified information when it opened the investigation into candidate Trump's alleged ties to Russia in 2016. Durham concludes senior FBI personnel displayed a serious lack of analytical rigor and relied on investigative leads provided or funded by Trump's.
Look at that. That right there is all at the FBI is. Let's read that again. Our investigation also revealed that senior FBI personnel displayed a serious lack of analytical rigor. In other words, they were desperate to enter this investigation to try to help Hillary Clinton. They were not analytical. It said, Trump's guilty, right? We all agree Trump's guilty? Yeah? Okay, great. Let's just start investigating him for no reason. Doesn't matter what the reason is. This is open investigation. In particular, there was a significant reliance on investigative lead provided or funded directly or indirectly by Trump political opponents, i.e. Hillary Clinton and the Steele dossier. That's what that's talking about. And so right there, that all is Hillary Clinton is just guilty as sin, and so is the FBI, obviously. The FBI they got a FISA warrant based off the Steele dossier, and that's how they're able to get a FISA warrant on Carter Page. And which was at the time he was Trump's, I think, a campaign official for Trump, and since the FISA rules allow you to tap the phone to anybody around that individual, so that included U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump. So they were able to tap into Trump's phones, even though they had no legal reason to do so, because the Steele dossier is it's basically opposition research. It's partisan opposition research. That's what the FBI used to justify the Steele dossier. To justify their warrant, the Steele dossier, which was Oppo research, and really badly done too, because all of it turned out to be not true.
Political opponents. Trump railed repeatedly against the FBI investigation.
There was absolutely spying into my campaign.
The FBI expanded its Russia probe, known as Crossfire Hurricane, based partly on information from Christopher Steele. Steele, a former...
all of it was based off Christopher Steele's dossier, not partly. It was like, well, partly, it's partly, it was partly based on Steele. No. They justified the FISA warrant on Carter Page based off the Steele dossier. That's the only evidence they had. And the FISA judges allowed it because, they didn't know any different, that it was, partisan Oppo research, but, they did anyways. It's okay, fine, here's your warrant. Here's your FISA warrant. That's how they started this investigation, by using partisan Oppo research against Trump. So now CBS kind of trying to cover up for that. So, it was partly based on that. But what else? There's no other evidence that Trump was guilty of this, or at the very least should have been suspicious, you know.
Former British spy put together research documents alleging possible misconduct between then-candidate Donald Trump and Russia. Durham found that investigators did not and could not corroborate any of the substantive allegations contained.
Oops. Our investigation determined that the Crossfire Hurricane investigators did not and could not corroborate any of the substantive allegations contained in the Steele reporting, because it's bullshit. That's why. It was political opposition research that Hillary Clinton funded, for the most part. It was, to be fair, also funded by Republicans, but once Trump won the nomination, they kind of gave up on that. So Hillary Clinton, of course, picked it up. You know, can you paying Christopher Steele to write his nonsense? Excuse me. To write his nonsense. So that's why, that's why it was clearly political oppo research. Everybody does it. Every candidate has oppo research from their opponents. The difference is that oppo research is not used as reason to spy on that individual's opponent. But Hillary Clinton managed to get the FBI to spy on Trump using Steele oppo research that she paid for. So once that came out, it was okay. That's it. Clearly, this is a partisan investigation by the FBI.
Contained in the Steele reporting.
There were multiple systematic efforts to interfere in our election.
Bullshit. There's no evidence of that.
The investigation became Special Counsel Mueller's probe. He did not find sufficient evidence of collusion between Trump and Russia. While Durham acknowledges the FBI was obligated to examine the Russia allegations, he's extremely critical of the Bureau's investigative work. In response, the FBI says it's already undertaken major reforms to address the shortcomings raised by Durham.
This has been a big black eye for a lot of the federal law enforcement.
Bob Anderson is a former senior FBI executive.
It has been a big deal, and I hope that we have clarified all these things that have caused this problem. But in the end, I hope it never happens again.
Critics charge Durham has little to show for his efforts. He brought only 2 cases to trial, and both men were found not guilty. A third case ended with a plea agreement. Reacting on social media, Donald Trump claimed the American public was scammed, nor the investigation cost over $6 million.
So CBS had to, the investigation cost $6 million and there was no conviction. So is the that's what critics say. So by definition, that must mean that they're right, because there was no convictions, even though Robert Mueller report didn't lead to any convictions either, and cost even more money. But that's not mentioned by CBS. I mean, I wonder why that is. That's I'll get to that later. Now let's get to lying. This is very important, but more lies. The Durham Report notes that it is a crime to knowingly provide false information to the government, which seems to be exactly what Hillary Clinton and her campaign did with the Russia hoax. So let's see. Can you guys see this? Looks like you can, but if you can't see this, let me know. But the Clinton plan intelligence was relevant to the office investigation for 2 reasons. First, the Clinton plan intelligence itself, and on its face, arguably suggested that private actors affiliated with the Clinton campaign were seeking in 2016 to promote a false or exaggerated narrative to the public and to the U.S. government agencies about Trump's possible ties to Russia. Given the significant quantity of materials the FBI and other government agencies did, in fact, received during the 2016 presidential election season and afterwards, that originated with and or were funded by Clinton campaign or affiliated persons, i.e. the Steele dossier reports, the Alpha Bank allegations, and the Yoda phone allegations, the Clinton plan intelligence prompted the office to consider whether there was, in fact, a plan by the Clinton campaign to tie Trump to Russia in order to stir up a scandal in advance of the 2016 presidential election. And if such plan existed, whether an aspect or component of that plan was to intentionally provide knowingly false or misleading information to the FBI or other agencies in furtherance of such a plan. So Hillary Clinton allegedly, and I say allegedly because I don't want to say she's guilty of this crime, definitely, but come on. I mean, this plan was set up from the word jump. And the word jump, we're talking about the guilt of a you're talking about basically starting a plan on purpose to try to tie Trump to Russia. Even though there were, if you guys remember back in 2016, what was I'm not sure you guys can hear that. There's some goddamn landscaper here making noise with their fucking machine. So I'm sorry about that. But what was I saying? If you remember back in 2016, what was even past the email scandal, Hillary Clinton's number one scandal was it was her ties to Russia, ironically. Remember the whole uranium scandal thing where the Obama administration sold, I think it was about 10% of our uranium to the Russians. So the Russians controlled 10% or 12%, whatever that number was. And Hillary Clinton, being Secretary of State, was deeply involved in that, in approving that deal. So her ties to Russia were very clear. Trump barely had any ties to Russia. And somehow, by the end of 2016, it turns out that everybody ignored the uranium ties with the Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, and Russia. And now they all focused on Trump Russia, even though there's never any evidence for any of this. It was all bullshit. It was all a load of bullshit created and promoted by the Clinton campaign and picked up and created by the Obama administration, the FBI and CIA, and the Democratic Party in Congress. So this is all gigantic scam that was played on all of us. The American people were completely scammed by this. Jeez. Once I start babbling away and talking and talking and talking, my throat gets dry. So that's why I need a bottle of water next to me constantly. All right, so that's that. So we have some reporting here. Where is it? The entire media is basically covering this as, the FBI launched a partisan investigation against Donald Trump. The entire media, except for one outlet that I can see here, and it's right on top. What a coincidence! It's right on top. So search on YouTube Durham Report and get a load of what's right on top. Nope, sorry. Durham Report finds troubling contacts between Trump campaign and Russia. Really? NBC News reports this. Nobody else is reporting it this way. All the CNN, Fox News, CBS, none of them is reporting it that way. The NBC News, only people reporting it this way. So, oops. What the fuck? There we go.
As we mentioned...
So, Durham Report finds troubling contacts between Trump campaign and Russia. Okay, nobody else reporting it that way. Not a soul. I haven't seen this yet, so I wonder what evidence that that NBC News has to make this assertion. Because everybody else is reporting it as the FBI launched a partisan investigation and wasted people's times by using the Steele dossier to justify most of their investigation. So let's see how NBC somehow justifies this.
After more than...
I've actually not watched this, so this is the first time I'm watching this. So let's see. I'm reacting live here for the first time.
2.5 years since being named special counsel, John Durham has now released his final report. The 300-page report says the FBI acted too hastily when it opened its investigation into Russian interference in the election, and that it was based on, quote, raw, uncorroborated information. Remember, Durham was appointed special counsel by then Attorney General Bill Barr to investigate the FBI's probe into Russian interference in the 2016 election, as well as to look into Special Counsel Mueller's investigation of Trump. Now, over the course of this investigation, Durham indicted 3 individuals, securing 1 guilty plea, resulting in probation, and 2 acquittals. Joining me now is Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delaney, who's been digging into this report. So, Ken, what's in this thing, and what are we learning?
What's funny is they keep mentioning the fact that only one person was convicted and 2 people were acquitted. Here, nobody was convicted based off the Mueller report either, but it was not reported that way at the time. It wasn't reported that way. It was reported that Russia-Trump collusion, Mueller found the evidence, yeah, we got Trump. Oh, it turns out that none of that's true. Huh, that sucks. Well, they kept going with that nonsense, even though, as we all know, that nothing was found. It was basically unfounded. That nobody was convicted. They were indictments. I think Mueller indicted some Russian troll farm in Saint Peter. Bleh, people in Saint Petersburg, Russia. Yeah, good luck trying to get those people actually come to the United States to face those charges. But Mueller had to justify his investigation somehow, right? So there were no convictions either by Mueller. And they keep bringing up, oh, well, there was only one conviction. He pled guilty, so he got probation. So nothing really came of this, right? Right. Come on, let's cover this up. NBC News. I work for NBC News. I work for Comcast, who hates Trump. So let's try to cover this up, please. Unbelievable. Let's keep going.
It's an exhaustive look at what the investigation codenamed Crossfire Hurricane. And there are a lot of different rabbit trails that this report goes down. But I think fundamentally what it does is it suggests that the FBI should not have opened this investigation in the first place. And that, as you said, it did so too hastily based on uncorroborated information, and that basically the FBI was suckered by a bunch of people with political agendas. Now, the problem with this thesis is that it runs directly contradictory to another independent report by the Justice Department's Inspector General back in 2019, which took an exhaustive look and found that, in fact, there was proper predication for this investigation, that the FBI acted appropriately in opening it, and also...
You see, now this is what I just realized what they're doing. They're desperately trying to say, oh, you see, but the Inspector General of Justice Department, they released their own report saying the Justice Department did nothing wrong. You see, so yeah, we don't know what's going on, guys. Please. I mean, we work for Comcast, try to desperately cover this up because Comcast hates Trump, right? I mean, is this working? Anybody buying this bullshit? I don't know. I mean, they're desperately trying to connect the Justice Department to this, like that report from 2019, even though the Justice Department, it was excuse me. Let's keep going.
Also found no evidence, no demonstrable evidence of political bias in doing it. Now, obviously,
no political bias. The Justice Department, really. I mean, they use the Steele dossier. That was the only evidence based to open this investigation, which was partisan opposition research. Like, how could you not say there was no political intent when they opened this investigation? Is beyond me. It's beyond me at this point.
One of the agents involved, a man named Peter Strzok, was found later through text to have expressed, animus towards Donald Trump. He was not a Donald Trump fan, but he was not the only decision maker here. There were others. And look, there's a lot of different aspects to this report. I mean, one of the cases that Durham tries to make is that information about potential counterintelligence threats involving the Clinton campaign was treated differently. But what he doesn't address is the context was so different. Here you had Donald Trump, who was publicly asking the Russians to find 30,000 missing emails from Hillary Clinton's server, who was expressing admiration for Putin. That was the context that Durham really...
Oh, God. They're the only... I'm sure MSNBC did similar things, try to cover this up, but this is not even MSNBC, it's NBC News, which they're supposed to be more straight news than MSNBC. And they're still trying to cover this up. They're still, he didn't fight, Trump loves Putin, right? And the FBI, and please believe us, we're so desperate, please ignore this report. Focus on the Justice Department report. That basically said that the FBI did everything right and there's nothing wrong with it, nothing wrong with opening an investigation, even though they opened a partisan investigation based off partisan opposition research. But, ignore that part. The Justice Department report is the right report. That's the one we want to focus on, okay? Please.
Really doesn't address in his report. Look, the other thing is there have been a lot of policy changes because there were some serious flaws in how the FBI approached, particularly its applications for foreign surveillance warrants, and the rules have been entirely overhauled in that respect. There's also a new rule that says the Attorney General has to approve any investigation into a political candidate or political campaign, and a lot of people would say that makes perfect sense given the stakes here. Ultimately, this investigation, as everyone knows, did not find formal coordination between the Trump campaign and Russia, but it found a series of troubling contacts. And a Senate Intelligence Committee report, bipartisan, went even further and said that those contacts posed a counterintelligence threat to the United States because the Trump campaign essentially opened their arms to help from the Russians.
Ken, I mean, obviously, this is going to get a ton of attention, especially on the right. I'm looking at my Truth Social app now. Donald Trump has just posted. He says the American public was scammed. He's going to be driving a lot of attention towards this. How do you think the DOJ is going to react to this report and to that attention? Do you think they're going to try to come up with more reforms than the ones you were just talking about, even to just try to assure people, especially those who might be skeptical based on this, that they hear what they're saying, that they've taken this report seriously? Like, what happens now?
You're raising a very good point. The DOJ is very concerned about this reaction on the right. They don't want half the country to believe, as many millions of Americans do, that the FBI was out to get one particular side of the aisle. In this case,
no. The Justice Department don't want that because ultimately the FBI falls under the authority of the Justice Department. So they don't want the FBI discredited, which is why they're not going to like this report too much. Neither will Democrats or liberals. Well, I will get the liberal reaction to this in a second. I just wanted to. Their meltdown here is very similar to the meltdown they had after Trump's town hall last week. So they're melting down again. I will get to that in a second. But the idea, let me go back a second.
Believe, as many millions of Americans do, that the FBI.
Oh yeah, okay, I know what. Yeah, so the Justice Department don't want the Americans half the country, the right, to believe that the FBI was going after Trump. Even though they were going after, really, at least the people investigating it, leading that investigation, were going after Trump. Not the entire FBI, maybe not, but at least the people leading the investigation, the FBI, were all partisan hacks. They all hated Trump, and they all expressed admiration for Hillary Clinton. So clearly, at least those agents, that part of the FBI, wanted to put their thumb on the scale for Hillary Clinton, which is why they opened this nonsense investigation, which is clearly nonsense because it's been, 6 years, and not a shred of evidence been found between Trump and Russia connecting. So yeah, this is like everybody doing mental masturbation in Washington. Like, but I mean, they can't. They didn't find any evidence, but we still believe that Trump and Russia are connected. Putin loves Trump, and Trump loves Putin. We still believe it. Please. It's our religion. We believe that it's true, even though there's no evidence. So they're operating by faith, all these elitist pricks. Unbelievable. A little bit more of this, and then
get one particular side of the aisle, in this case, Donald Trump. And that's why Chris Wray, the FBI director, issued a statement essentially distancing himself from some of the decisions made in this investigation and saying, look, that was then, this is now. We've made a host of changes. Some of these mistakes would not happen again. And this Justice Department feels similarly. They want to divorce these institutions from politics, and they want the whole country to believe that it's on the level, but they're just dealing in a climate of misinformation. The thing, Trump will proclaim that this report vindicates him, but it actually does the opposite, because he says that this.
Yeah, the report doesn't vindicate Trump. It does the opposite, I mean, it does the opposite, guys. By the way, NBC News is the only people reporting it this way. There's nobody else in the media reporting it this way. Because if that's true, if the report doesn't at least somewhat vindicate Trump, the entire media would have been talking about that part of the report, and they would ignore the rest of it. But because nobody else is reporting it that way, it has to be NBC News grasping at straws at this point. We'll see. I'll play it, but let's see what they're talking about. But I think they have to be grasping at straws, like desperately trying to maintain this illusion to their audience that there's don't worry, there's still some connection. We still have a shred of tiny bit of evidence between Trump and Russia. So let's not worry about this, okay? So come on, don't hate us. So let's see what he says. I have not watched this, so it's the first time I'm watching this.
This was all corrupt. John Durham went looking for corruption. He looked hard for corruption. He interviewed every CIA analyst who had their hands on this and every FBI official, and he found none. He couldn't establish, and he was 0 for 2 in court. What he found was essentially a difference of opinion about the strength of this case.
Yeah.
Ken, I imagine in the 2 hour
wait, that's
show,
it?
we would probably
opinion found no option. This was all corrupt. but they're just dealing in a climate of misinformation. The thing, Trump will proclaim that this report vindicates him, but it actually does the opposite.
Okay, so he said this. Trump says this report vindicates him, but it does quite the opposite. Then he goes to corruption. I'm like, but Trump did. But how does that connect to the report vindicating him or not? It's like they're desperately trying to grasp at straws at this point. They're grasping. It's like, you see, there's some evidence. There's some evidence, please. I mean, yeah, there's no corruption. No corruption, guys. See, all our agencies, we're all good, we all do the exact same thing, and we do our jobs, and we do it well, So that's what the Durham Report found. Nobody else reporting it that way, by the way, but nonetheless, I mean, this is what NBC News claims. Comcast hates Trump, even though there's an irony there because Comcast made tens of millions of dollars off Trump for years. For years with the Apprentice show. If you guys remember that show from 10 or 15 years ago, Trump was a star of that show for years. And they paid Trump handsomely to do that show for years. And now they turn around and virtue signal about how much they hate Trump, especially NBC, when they profited off Trump more than anybody. So damning, treasonous charade. Okay, we saw that one. DOJ releases justice report, blah, blah, blah. Losing Trump bar, okay. Biden complaints. Alright, so last night it's 10 minutes. That's way too long, and I'm not going to sit there for 10 minutes. Like, what's funny is everyone's running around. Everyone's running. Former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe responds to Republican-appointed Special Counsel John Durham's 300-page report. So, of course, he's going to say that the report is not true or wrong or incorrect or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So, let's check some of this out. I haven't seen this either, so I'm kind of, just as new as everybody else is, so...
By Special Counsel John Durham concludes the FBI should never have launched its 2016 Russia investigation in the first place. Durham, who was picked by the Trump administration, writes that the over 300-page report details a 4-year probe which yielded very little.
Why? Look at that. Why do they keep harping on the cost of the report? Again, there was no problem with the cost of the Mueller report investigation. I'd not seen a single a price tag from corporate media at the time about how much that investigation is costing the American people, the taxpayers. Now, this report, all of a sudden, the years of the report matters, the cost of the investigation, the conviction. It only got one minor conviction. The Mueller report had no convictions, as far as I know. So there were some indictments, but there were no convictions, and the losses at trials. Like, why? None of this mattered when during the Mueller investigation, that report. Now it matters all of a sudden. Now it matters. I wonder why that is.
In terms of prosecutions, he adds, quote, the FBI used raw, unanalyzed, and uncorroborated intelligence and, quote, ignored material information that did not support the narrative of a collusive relationship between Trump and Russia. We should know this report is at odds with the 2019 DOJ Inspector General's findings that there was a basis, a legitimate reason to open this investigation.
They're now harping on the Justice Department Inspector General report from 2019. It's like, you see, they said, there was a basis for the investigation. Now this report says not. So there's two different reports, and we must believe the original report because that's good for our narrative. That Trump-Russia collusion happened, and blah, 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 blah. Like, please believe us. Not sure I'm going to play this whole thing, but because I want to get to Twitter's reaction to this.
So let's talk about it with CNN senior law enforcement analyst Andy McCabe. He's the former deputy director of the FBI, and importantly, he oversaw what became known as a crossfire hurricane probe into Trump in 2016.
Wait. So not only The CNN hire McCabe and pay him a ton of money to be an analyst, but they bring him on in order to say, no, we would never do a partisan investigation. That's wrong. I mean, that's not true. That's not correct. We would never do that. We had basis for the investigation. Believe me, trust me, even though I led the investigation and we based it off of partisan opposition research, but still, I mean, we had basis. We swear we had basis. This is nonsense. I'm not even gonna bother playing this because they're just gonna defend it. McCabe's gonna defend himself with nonsense and forget that. I didn't realize, he actually, was working for CNN and shit. All right. So now let's get to the shitlib reaction on Twitter because they're hilarious. That meltdown was just epic. So let's get to stop sharing, share this time. Okay, here we go. Let's get to everybody's favorite partisan hack, Brian Krasenstein. I think his brother's name is John. They're both the biggest partisan hacks, in there's no bigger partisan hacks than these two fuckers. So let's see. It just was tweeted out yesterday, I believe, or last night. Breaking! John Durham has concluded his report, finding that the FBI should have never launched a full Russia-Trump investigation. No charges were recommended. However, I want to make a few things clear regarding these reports. If you're claiming that Mueller was biased releasing his report, then you probably shouldn't be attacking those on the left who claim Durham's report was biased. Oh well, that's convenient. It's like, well, if you were, a conservative Trump supporter, whatever, if you claim that Mueller was biased for releasing his report, then you probably shouldn't be attacking people on the left who claim Durham's report was biased. Even though there's no indication his report was biased, but we'll see. Okay, if you're pushing the Mueller report and using it to attack Trump actions, me included, then you should at least read the Durham report and respect the facts that it found. We have 300 pages unredacted Durham report. Let's see the complete unredacted Mueller report. Public deserves the full story, no matter what side of political spectrum you fall on. Now, this is another excuse that they use, that the Mueller report there were some redactions in the Mueller report, and they want to see the complete report, which is why they'll keep harping on this. They'll keep pushing Trump Russia, even though there's no evidence for it because of the redactions in Mueller report. Of course. They're not going to stop pushing this. They're not going to fucking stop pushing this nonsense. Let's go to, where is it? Here. Let's go to Victor Shi, another partisan hack. You see here, I'll show you who this guy is. Youngest Biden delegate. Host. On the Move. iGen Politics. Voter Tomorrow. Resolute Square. UCLA 24. Former White House Joe Biden comms DNC director. Jesus. I mean, he worked for Joe Biden. So, no, he's not going to be fucking, biased. So let's see. CNN reporting on the Durham report is right now it's absolute trash. They are acting like his report is a victory for Republicans and even called an exoneration of Donald Trump. Again, CNN is failing all of us in our democracy, full stop. Yeah, they're failing. They're failing us, full stop, guys. CNN is horrible. I love it. This is hilarious. This is hilarious how these partisan hacks are just melting down over this. The Durham Report's an absolute bombshell. Watch the whole show here. Everybody's talking about this. What was the White House reaction to blah, blah, blah. Oh, let's get to this is 2 minutes ago, so let's get to our press secretary here, not answering the question as she usually does. So let's Why is this not fucking playing? Here we go.
Reaction to Special Counsel Durham's report on how the FBI handled the Trump-Russia probe.
I would leave it to the Department of Justice to speak to.
Talks often about how he wants the DOJ and FBI to remain independent and above the fray. That report seems to reflect the opposite. Does he agree with Special Counsel Durham that there needs to be wholesale changes at the FBI?
Again, that is with the Department of Justice. That's not something that I'm going to speak from the podium, as you just stated in your question.
God damn it! Sorry about this. I don't know.
We believe in an independent Department of Justice.
What the
That's what the president said when he was running, and that's what the president has said.
Blah, blah, blah. You get the point. She didn't answer the question. She never answers any question. She just deflects in a fucking horrible way. The morning of June. Okay, let's see. What else is interesting here? Let's see. Meltdown. Let's see what's the latest on this. I want to see what's the latest on this because if you're Yeah, well, I mean, I'm gonna wrap up with this because I found this. I tweeted this last night. There are a couple of things I tweeted yesterday which I wanted to. Where is it? No, it's here in my bookmarks. If I go to my bookmarks, then whoops, where the fuck are my bookmarks? No, I don't want Twitter Blue. Fuck out of here with that. I don't want Twitter Blue. That's bullshit. So here we go. So there's a couple of tweets that I sent out yesterday, which I wanted to discuss, and then I'll wrap up because it's almost time for me to wrap up. Let's see. Here we go. This is the first one. So this is interesting. Roger Stone sent out a tweet last night, which is here it is right here. Let's do this so you can see it. So I was convicted of lying to Congress about Russian collusion that Special Counsel John Durham has now established actually never existed. Right. So now let's go back here to the original. So this is my tweet here, which it says, ironic that Democrats managed to make Roger Stone a political hatchetman for the Republicans into a victim of their authoritarian power grab when Trump was president. And Roger Stone liked my tweet. So that was a little interesting. Is like, I called you a political hatchetman, dude, and you like my tweet? Like, okay, whatever. I just found that to be like hilarious, and it was like, really. All right, so where's the other one? Here we go. So I found there was somebody tweeted this out last night. Out here, I think this is the original person I saw it from. Yeah, here we go. So one of the Kassenstein brothers admits, Kassenstein admits that he's getting paid by higher ups to manipulate public opinion. Why am I not surprised? I'm not surprised. They've been doing this for years, these fuckers. So here he is. So,
paid.
I put allegedly in my tweet, but if you look at this, it looks just like him.
Is that your job? I have several businesses, but the resistance is out.
Why is this not playing?
People it's spread throughout the country, probably throughout the world. I mean, it's just kind of, it's just what I enjoy spending my time doing. And of course we get paid, you know?
Yeah.
Of course those higher ups pay us.
Oops.
So you're paid for this? It's not just like something you do because your love of country?
Yeah, I mean, people pay us. They want us to help sow the division and to take over Trump's Twitter feed. When he makes a post, they want our tweets to be up there. They don't want.
Here we go with Comcast slow ass internet. You know what? Hell with that. I'm done with that. You get the point. Actually, I may just replay it again tomorrow, just to just for people to see it. For some reason, my Comcast internet, which I'm mostly paying for high speed blast internet, is slow as fuck again. So yeah, it drives me crazy. I can't really take how slow the internet is right now. So it's almost 3:30, so I'm gonna start wrapping up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. I have an excellent time, doing this every single day. Not every single day, every single weekday, let's say. And I appreciate all the support that I've gotten over the last month while I was gone. So I greatly appreciate that, and I also greatly appreciate the support of INN throughout my entire process of getting back to this point. Excuse me. And I hope you guys are able to join me tomorrow. Same time, same place, same channels. So, hope everybody has a great rest of their day, rest of their Tuesday. I'll be back Wednesday afternoon with more stories, more content, a good time. And I hope you guys are able to join me for that. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on my social medias, follow my Substack. That's all there in the chat. So, guys enjoyed everything. And I'll see everybody tomorrow. And it looks like there's a halo on my head. And I'm in front of a window here, which is why, and the sun is blasting right on my face here. So, which is why it looks like I have a halo. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. You can check it out whenever you want on my YouTube channel, the INN YouTube channel. If you can't check it out during 2:15, I get it. Everybody works. So I understand. So the replays, or the stream is actually in video form on INN's YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, the Rofkin channel, the Rumble channel, all over the place. So you're able to check it out whenever you get a chance. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope to see you tomorrow. And I hope everybody has a great night. So have a great day. And goodbye. I stop rambling at the end, man. It's